Hello, Arvind. This is Vinay here from Learn Coding with Vinay, and we are into the video number 3 of our series where we are designing a database for a business case scenario. And the business case is, drinking water distribution, right? We created the common tables, user role and user role in the previous video. In this video, we will design a table that will cover actually a vendor process, right? So what all vendor does, that we will try to put down that into the database tables. So in this video we will just list the process and table names. In the next video we will work on the actual design, right? So let's discuss out again the vendor process for this business, right? So a vendor usually uses a three wheeler or four wheeler to deliver the water gallons, right? That is the first thing. So we'll have to have a table, maybe call vendor vehicle, right? And one vendor can have many vehicles, maybe he is running it on a multiple places, right, to deliver the water, right? Next would be, then every day that vehicle will travel certain distance, right? So from a vendor perspective he should be able to store this detail also somewhere, right? So we will also have to maintain vehicle run, right? That will give the vendor good idea about how much kilometer he is daily running for the business, what amount of petrol or what amount of gas he or she is using, right? So the basically expense detail can also be covered over there somehow, right? So we will have to have, first we will have to have the vendor vehicle, second we will have to have the vendor vehicle run table, right? Next, now there are certain employees who helps vendor to carry out this activity, right? They are helpers, they are drivers, right? So we need to store somewhere the vendor and their employee mapping, right? So let's call it vendor employee. And then these employees are either paid on a daily basis or on a salary basis, right? So we'll have to store that detail also somewhere, right? So that is one, that is another table, right? And for per vendor, there will be difference in prices. For example, we have vendors, they who are delivering this 20-liter gallon, they have price ranges between 12 to 15 rupees per 20-liter, right? So we'll have to store that also, because ultimately at the end of the month, based on the per gallon price only, customer will be charged, right? And this price does not change frequently, they hardly change in 2 to 3 years, but we will have to manage it for a year, what was the price. And to better manage it, it is always good to manage per month per year price, right? So that way this will give flexibility to vendor also. If for example in mid of the year, because of the petrol diesel gas price or anything else, you know uh, vendor has to increase the price of per gallon water, right? So that will be easier for him or her, right? So we will try to maintain the per month basis, the water price per month basis, right? So these are the things vendor is doing for this business, right? And let me bring ssms also and summarize this, that what we are going to do. We will have a vendor employee table that is stored to that is store the data of which employee is working for which vendor, basically vendor and employee mapping, right? Then obviously we have vendor and employee mapping, then we need to maintain employee salary somehow, right? So we will have vendor employee salary history detail, right? Then vendor vehicle, so a vendor can use one vehicle to deliver the water bottles. Sometimes they might have more than one vehicle, right? So that vehicle details should be there. Then vehicle run, so on a per day, what was the kilometer they travel to deliver the water, right? So based on that they will have to refill fuel and the other calculation that has to be carried out, that we will design the table, and at that time we will discuss. But as of now, just I am listing the table. And then the vendor water rate, so per vendor we'll have to store per vendor per gallon. So basically 20-liter price we'll have to store it somewhere so that it can be used by vendor at the end of the month to calculate the water consumption and billing to the customer, right? So these are the tables currently, what I could thought about related to storing the data of vendor process, right? So we'll discuss various data points of each of these table in the next video. So thanks a lot for watching this video, and see you in the next video.